Have you ever had that one neighbor who just refuses to respect a single boundary? Well, let me tell you about the day Karen's son wandered onto my property and acted like he owned the place. He strolled right across my land, headed straight for my private pond, completely unaware of what was waiting for him. A natural mud pit, one that sucked him in all the way up to his thighs. And let me make something absolutely clear. I didn't extend a hand, not once. See, I live out in a quiet rural area, tucked away on a piece of land I've worked hard to take care of. It's my haven, my peace, my getaway from everything chaotic. That pond of mine isn't just some waterhole. It's something I've maintained, stocked with fish, and protected for my family. But even the most peaceful place has its irritations. And mine came packaged as my entitled neighbor, Karen. Karen is the type who believes every rule is optional for her and her kid. She treats the entire neighborhood like it's her personal backyard. Over time, I kept catching her teenage son cutting through my property, tossing trash around, even throwing rocks into my pond like he had the deed to it. I gave warnings, polite ones at first. Hey, this is private property. Stay off. But with Karen, nothing sticks. She brushed it aside as if I was out of line for even bringing it up. The final straw came one hot summer afternoon. I heard splashing near the pond and hurried over, only to find her son knee-deep in the water. Muddy footprints trailed across my land like a personal insult. He wasn't just trespassing, he was disrespecting the one place I valued above everything else. Now, here's something important about my pond. On the far end, there's a section of thick, heavy mud. Nature's own version of quicksand. It's harmless if you know where to step. But if you wander in blindly, you're trapped. And that's exactly where Karen's boy wound up. One minute he was smirking, splashing around like he owned the world, and the next squelch. His legs dropped straight down. I stood on the bank, arms crossed, watching him flail. "Help! I can't move!" he yelled, panic spreading across his face. But I didn't budge. I knew he wasn't in any real danger, just stuck, frustrated, and finally facing a consequence he'd earned. And honestly, it was long overdue. Before she even appeared, I heard Karen's scream echo across both our yards. "Jason, what are you doing?" She barreled from her porch, sandals smacking the grass. When she finally spotted him trapped in the mud at the edge of my pond, her face turned a shade of red. I didn't know humans could achieve. Jason, struggling desperately, waved his arms. "Mom, I can't get out. Help me." His knees were buried, his hands clawing at the slippery ground, only getting himself more stuck with each tug. Now, if you assume Karen's first instinct was to rescue her son like any normal parent, let me stop you. No, the first thing she did was fire a death glare at me, like I had engineered a trap specifically for her. "Perfect, child. What did you do to my son?" she shrieked. I kept my arms folded and my tone steady. "I didn't do anything, Karen. Your son trespassed. That mud's been here long before you moved to this neighborhood. If he'd stayed where he was supposed to, he wouldn't be in this situation." Her hands flew to her hips, classic Karen posture. "Don't you dare blame Jason. He's just a kid. You're the adult. You should have monitored your property better." And that's when it finally hit me. Not only was she entitled, she was absolutely delusional. Instead of helping her kid, who was sinking little by little into cold sludge, she chose to lecture me like I was the villain. Jason's voice cracked as he called out again, "Mom, please." But she ignored him, snapping at me instead. "You're going to pull him out right now," she demanded. I shook my head slowly, a hint of a smirk creeping in. "No, Karen. I warned him to stay off my property. I warned you to keep him away. Actions have consequences. He's not in danger, just stuck. Let him work his way out." Karen gasped as if I'd slapped her. "You're heartless. What if he gets hurt?" "What if, then maybe," I cut in, firm. "He'll finally understand what no trespassing actually means." For a moment, everything went silent except for Jason struggling. Karen and I locked eyes, neither of us backing down. She looked like she wanted to scream, maybe even whip out her phone and dial the cops. But she couldn't escape the reality staring her dead in the face. Her son had trespassed, ignored every warning, and now he was paying the price, covered in mud, stuck, and humiliated. Jason groaned as he yanked upward, only to topple forward onto his chest, splashing himself in wet dirt. Karen shrieked again, but even then she refused to step into the muck. And that's when it hit me, the real showdown hadn't even begun. By now, Jason was outright sobbing. His arms were smeared with mud as he tried, over and over, to drag himself free. But the more he struggled, the deeper he sank, until the mud hugged his waist like a belt made of wet cement. Karen stomped her foot on the bank and jabbed a finger at me, fury blazing. "I'm calling the police," she screeched, ripping her phone out. "You're going to jail for this. This is child endangerment." I raised a brow. "Really, Karen? Be my guest. Call them. I'll happily explain how your son trespassed after I warned you both countless times. You think law enforcement's going to back you or the guy standing on his own property while minding his business?" Her lip curled, but her thumb froze over the keypad. She knew I had her cornered, but Karen wasn't the type to surrender. Instead, she whirled on Jason. "Why can't you just climb out? Stop making me look ridiculous." Jason whimpered through tears. "Mom, can't. It's too heavy." Mud streaked across his cheeks, mixing with tears, making him look even more pitiful. I crouched and kept my voice steady. "Jason, listen. If you stay calm and shift your weight slowly, you'll get out. Don't thrash. Don't yank upward. Work one leg at a time." Karen spun toward me instantly. "Don't you dare tell my son anything. You've caused enough trouble." I exhaled and stood again. "Then help him yourself, Karen. Step into the mud and pull him out." That shut her right up. She looked down at her spotless capris and freshly painted toenails. The idea of ruining them made her recoil like she'd seen a snake. "I can't step in there. It's disgusting." The hypocrisy was almost unbelievable. She wanted me to leap into that muck immediately, but the moment the responsibility fell on her, she backed off. Meanwhile, Jason kept pleading, his voice cracking, desperate for someone to do something. At that moment, a couple of neighbors wandered over, drawn by the noise. They hovered at the edge of my yard, whispering to each other as they watched the chaos unfold. And trust me, nothing deflates a Karen faster than onlookers. One neighbor murmured, "Didn't he tell them to stay off his property?" Another nodded. "Yep, saw it myself." Karen's face drained of color. She suddenly realized she wasn't just losing an argument, she was losing it publicly. But instead of backing down, she dug her heels in deeper. "If you don't pull him out right now, I swear I'll sue you," she screeched, and that was it. I decided things had gone far enough. The air felt heavy, thick with Karen's frantic screaming and Jason's hysterical crying. The neighbors stood with crossed arms, clearly siding with me. For the first time, Karen realized she wasn't in control. Her voice no longer carried authority, only panic. "Jason, listen up," I said firmly, not even glancing at Karen. "Shift your left leg slowly. Wiggle it. Don't pull. Lean forward and free the other. You'll get out if you stop panicking." Jason hiccuped, but followed my instructions. Slowly, painfully, his left leg slid free with a disgusting suction sound. He toppled sideways, splattering mud everywhere, but at least one leg was out. Karen gasped like she'd witnessed a miracle she should have received credit for. "Good," I continued, still calm. "Now do the same with the other leg. Don't fight it. Ease it out." Jason clenched his jaw and worked the second leg loose. When it finally jolted free, he scrambled onto the firm ground, coated in mud from waist to shoes. He looked like a swamp creature, exhausted, filthy, and completely defeated. Karen rushed toward him, arms outstretched like she'd been his hero all along. "Oh, my poor baby. Look at you. You're filthy. This is all his fault," she snapped, pointing at me. But before I could respond, one of the neighbors cut me off. "Actually, Karen, we all saw what happened," she said sharply. "He walked onto his property after being told not to. That mud's been there forever. If anyone's to blame, it's you for not teaching your kid to stay out of other people's yards." Karen froze. For once, she had no comeback. Her eyes darted from neighbor to neighbor, all of them nodding, all of them watching her unravel. And then over to me, standing calm and collected. Her power evaporated instantly, Jason tugged on her sleeve. Mom, can we just go home? His voice was small, embarrassed, defeated. He wanted nothing more than to get away. Karen muttered something bitter under her breath, grabbed his arm, and stomped toward her house, dragging her muddy kid behind her. Every stiff step she took was a silent admission that she'd lost. The neighbors lingered a bit longer, a couple laughing quietly. One clapped a hand on my shoulder. "You handled that perfectly. Maybe she'll finally get the message." I smiled. Maybe, and if not, well, the mud's always ready to remind them, and with that, the calm returned to my pond. Jason had learned that trespassing came with consequences far messier than he expected. And Karen? She learned something even harder. No amount of yelling, threatening, or posturing could change one simple, unshakable truth. My land is my land, and respect isn't optional. Guys, this is only the beginning. If you don't want to miss what comes next, smash that like button, hit subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss the next insane twist in this ongoing Karen saga.